Hello, rather obvious fans. Welcome to my nighttime Christmas ride. I like doing this. Um, I like going into downtown Denver. Honestly, I may even do a voiceover on this. I may not talk a whole lot. Because I might use this for a Wishful Wednesday and tell you about my favorite Christmas stuff. So, in fact, that might be what I do. Well, I guess we'll take you for a little bit of a ride. So, rather obvious fans, this is Denver, Colorado. And that is the can right there, the Pepsi Center. They call it the can. Wonder why. Just haven't figured it out yet. I feel fortunate that there's not an event going on tonight. The Avs played last night though, and I knew that, so let's see.
So, rather obvious fans, here are some of my best Christmas memories. I remember very distinctly the smell of electric motors in things like stompers, or at these little motorcycles that you propped up by the contacts in the rear with this battery pack that had like 3 D-cell batteries in it. That back wheel would get spinning and it would burn out going across the linoleum in the kitchen. Or we had this game Bop Bop and Rebop. And especially in electric trains and the TCR slot cars. TCR slot cars could change lanes and had a jam car that went slow. And you had to pass the jam car kind of in a straightaway or you'd get stuck behind it for the whole race. Another thing I remember was crossbows and catapults. That didn't have electric motors, but it was the best game ever. We took over the whole living room. And by we, I mean my brother and I. I remember the rubber bands that came with it were pretty weak, so we used to use newspaper rubber bands. We could send one of those pucks clear across the room. I remember the stronger rubber bands also broke the arm of the catapult. We had a different catapult once. It was an Ewok catapult. But that we had in the summertime, as I remember it launching a plastic rock from the top of a box fan, and it hit Dad when he was watching a movie. Pretty sure he spilled his tea when it hit him on his glasses, and it made his glasses pinch the nerve in his nose. That's another story for another time. Transformers were popular the same year that we got the crossbows and catapults. I remember we had Blue Streak, which was a little Z car. Actually, that was mine. And my brother got Bumblebee. And Bumblebee was a VW Bug back in my day. We each got a jet too. Neither of us had Starstreak, who was the leader of those jets. But I had the purple one, and Craig, my brother, had this, I don't know, it was like a silvery one, but it wasn't Starstreak. I remember being in 2nd grade one time. Well, I remember being in 2nd grade when I was in 2nd grade, believe it or not, but and I remember specifically that year because I got a train set. It was actually set up on the basement ping pong table Christmas morning. There was a track on a 4 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood, and it was raised up on 2x2s. And they kind of went around the board, along the whole bottom of it and raised the track up a couple inches. The track was in a squarish circle on the board, so it had 4 straight sides, but then 4 corners as well, where it would turn. And the entire board was covered in like fake grass type stuff. There were also orange or peach trees, and I don't know which ones they were, because they had these like orangish, peachish little fruits on them that actually fell off and blended in with the grass. I also remember that there were lights around the track. And I remember the lights because they'd get brighter the faster I made the train go. Those were the days before LEDs, that's for sure. I think that was one of the best Christmases ever. Mostly because I didn't ask for a train set. Heck, I didn't even know what one was. But I do know that I spent hours on end watching that train go around that track. Hours and hours, just watching it go around. Watching each car. The wheels staying on the track. The smell of the electric contacts. And that electric smell is kind of what brought all these memories back. I have 2 other memorable Christmases. The other one is when I was given a Tamiya RC car. I was in 6th grade. It was the Grasshopper. I saw one, and so I knew it would be fun. I also knew they were kind of expensive, and I didn't actually think I'd get one. I opened all the normal gifts that year, and then lo and behold, one of my final gifts was this Futaba RC controller. There was only one thing that could go to. I got a Grasshopper. I learned to drive it quickly, and then before the end of January, I remember upgrading the motor to a Tamiya Enduro 540. I don't even know how I remember these names and numbers, but for some reason it's cemented into my brain. It was so much fun to stomp the guys at school that had the Hornets with my Grasshopper, all because I had that engine upgrade. My other most favorite Christmas was the year I was given. And I realize this sounds so cliche after the movie Christmas Story, but the year I got a Red Ryder BB gun. I didn't have all of those romantic yearnings for a Red Ryder BB gun specifically. I actually didn't know about a Red Ryder BB gun. But I had been shooting a BB gun with my Uncle JB the summer before. I love shooting that BB gun, knocking down cans and shooting at other various things. I was 12 that Christmas that I got that BB gun. I remember setting up a range in the basement of our house. We used a cardboard box with newspaper and carpet at the very back in case a BB went through the newspaper. I remember being 12 because that was the year Dad took me to get my hunter safety card. And I was the best shot in the class, mostly because I spent so much time shooting a BB gun. I do remember being disappointed because they DQ'd one shot of mine because they couldn't definitively see where it went through the same hole as the previous shot. I mean, come on guys, I grouped all 5 of my shots in an area smaller than a nickel right around the bullseye. To this day, the smell of hot electronics, especially contact smells of running motors, remind me of Christmas morning. I do remember the materialistic side of Christmas. I remember the gifts. More than the gifts, which I really do remember and treasure. More than those, though, I remember those around me. I remember playing crossbows and catapults, and shooting BB guns with my brother. I got a BB gun at age 10. Not really upset, just saying. I remember my Uncle JB helping me with the electric motorcycles that burnt rubber across the kitchen. I remember my Uncle Dave playing with the stompers with me, and my cousin Dave, his son. I remember Uncle Lynn breaking toys because he wasn't really super mechanically inclined, and I actually remember Dad asking me to have him help me set stuff up in the future so that the toys would survive to actually be played with. I remember laying on my head, or actually I remember laying my head on the ping pong table, watching my train go by, seeing the sparks from the wheels, not caring about anything except that right at that moment. Christmas is a happy time, as my loved ones grow old and some are no longer here, like my grandparents, or Uncle JB, or Cousin Dave. I remember happy times. I'm so thankful for the time that we did have together, and so happy that they were there to share what we were able to. Some say Christmas is about the birth of baby Jesus, and I'm thankful for people pausing about, and thinking about that. But we can celebrate that every day, and we should. The Bible doesn't tell us when Jesus was born, and frankly, it was most likely not in the dead of winter. When Jesus was actually born isn't of consequence, though. The fact that he was indeed born is. and we can discuss that on a different vlog or even a different channel. I'm here to share my memories and an awesome ride with you. Thanks for tuning in. Rider Obvious out. And Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.